Got your coffee, got your water, we're good? Okay, I was asking who's sore, we're fine, or anyone that, some people said they're sore, some people said they're good. We're fine? Some knees are over. Okay, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Right. Yesterday was strength day, today is day 2 SPS program, the second and last day of level 1 SPS program. Remember it's a level 1, then it's a level 2, then it's a level 3 to finish the strength at the sports performance specialist program by FIBA Asia. So yesterday was fully about strength, what we tend to do in the weight room, more of the strength principles, training systems, periodization. We talked about prep phase more, but we also showed the graph showing that what happens in the other phases too. If you remember, right? We were all fresh or we were sleeping at the end. Okay, so today is more about conditioning. And in my opinion, this is the way more important part. Okay, that doesn't mean the other part is less important, is not important, but this is really the way you move on the court. You will learn the strength. You learn the strength part, how to land, how to jump eventually, how to lateral squat. We did this yesterday. How to do corrective exercise, etc. Today in the conditioning we will also do corrective exercise, but it will be during regular on the basketball court first, not outside the court like yesterday. 2, it will be one example of a warm-up pre-game, pre-practice, You all have been players, coaches, etc. You know how to warm up, but in my opinion, most of us warm up wrong. You'll see why today. Okay? Again, everything should have a why, right? We said this yesterday. You cannot do something and I'm good, I warmed up. How did you warm up? What was the sequence, the order, why? We'll see today. Someone told me yesterday, I can't remember who said that passive stretching is still, you told me maybe, passive stretching is very common still in Qatar and in different countries, in the Gulf maybe. Yes, this is very old school. Yes, this is a bad thing, but sometimes incorporated in few parts of the warm-up could be beneficial. We'll say why today. Good news, okay. So, conditioning is where you sprint, where you shuffle, where you change direction when you react, where you work on your acceleration, deceleration, where you work on your kinesthetic awareness to know where you are basically on the court. I see these players always taking the ball on the sideline, at the corner. As they swing the ball, they step back on the sideline, then they go inside, drive to the paint, that's out of bounds. It's very common, you see these players, right? Every team there's maybe one player who does this every time. It's because they don't understand their positioning on the court. He's not crazy, he understands he understands the game, he knows he shouldn't step back, but when pressure hits and when it's the game goes faster, his way to accelerate his bad habit is stepping back to step forward. You will see it today. Most of you do this. You really don't need to do this. When you're in a spot, you need to sprint forward. While you take a step back, then step again forward, you're wasting time, wasting energy, etc. So small details we'll look at that I believe will add to your resume, to your know-how and knowledge, and will help you apply to yourself as you train and to your athletes. And by the way, everything you did, make sure you don't train, or you don't give to anyone or train anyone doing these skills if you don't perfect them yourself. Clear? Yeah. You take this workshop, this program, you finish, you go, I got this SPS program, start training athletes, and you don't know how to do a clean, you don't know how to do a high pull. So go practice your craft. You are enjoying this hopefully, and you'll enjoy level 2 more, level 3 even way more, but if you don't practice it, don't teach it. Clear? That's my advice. Because if you don't practice, you will not understand what cues to develop, what cues are harder than others to comment or critique your athlete. Very important. Personally, I look at, say, maybe I'm always busy, but I try to have at least 4 times a week practicing techniques. I don't care about building muscle, I don't care about. All I care about is enjoying a workout based on these techniques, because if I don't perfect it, I can't teach you. No chance. Okay. What's SAQ? Speed, agility, quickness. Speed, agility, quickness. Okay? What's speed? Quick definition.
A to B, distance.
Excellent. We mentioned this yesterday. Who's discussed?
This is my group.
Oh, okay. They were nice. Okay. So we're going from point A to point B. I'm going from this point to this point. The faster I go from A to B, the higher the speed. As simple as that. Why am I explaining speed? Because you realize quickness is different in a bit. Okay. What's agility? We mentioned this yesterday.
Moving from side to side with the
Change
stimulus
direction.
or reaction.
So
Change
side to
direction.
side, with the better word is change of direction with a reaction. Yes. So combined answer is the right one. What's quickness?
It's the first steps to attend
You're reading a book? I'm kidding. Okay, because yes, usually it's a misconception. People use quickness. Sometimes I find it used interchangeably with speed. He's quick, he's fast, high speed. So, but our definition, SNC wise, strength and conditioning wise, quickness equals acceleration. Intilaq, acceleration. Okay, intilaq. Okay, and we will notice that acceleration is a crucial metric we look at and we train our athletes at, because it will determine who's the faster athlete. Yet not alone, we'll check something in the next slide. Look at this. Who won the race? This is me, this is any one of you, because I never lose. Okay, why did I win?
Less time.
Someone said better acceleration, someone said, what do you say?
Less time.
Less time to finish? But how do you know the time?
Quick start.
Where do you see the time?
7.
You watched the race.
No,
Quick
I
start.
I just
Quick start.
Okay.
Quick start.
So, like, Musa, quick start with acceleration until upward. Okay, anything else?
Also, the speed is only the finish is less than.
You attend maximum before the other one.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
you went to the
average-
maximum
average-
before the other guy.
The average speed is.
Okay, any other comment, any other opinion?
Keep same pace.
What do you mean? Explain
Second
here.
one, yes, the sprint.
So he reached
The
22
second one.
Yeah, before.
Yeah.
before that guy, and then what do you say?
Contain.
Okay, he's almost close to correct. So to win the race, you need two things. An excellent a better acceleration from the competitor. And the second thing, to maintain maximum speed for a longer time. So basically attain it earlier and then maintain it. This guy got to higher speeds. To a higher level of speed, but basically he barely got to 23 and the race ended at the end. This guy maintained 22 for a longer time. So basically fast acceleration, attaining earlier speed, attaining max speed earlier and maintaining it. So to be faster on the court, is it enough to work on acceleration, or is it enough to work on max speed, or is it must to work on both? It's a must to work on both. Okay. This being said, it's not random to keep you sprinting. This being said, if I want to work on max speed and I punish my basketball team, youth or seniors, at the end of the workout, you guys are slow. We're gonna do suicides when they're fatigued, diminished from creatine phosphate, we're wasting their time and my time. So this is nonsense. Old school doesn't work. Like you'll be building metabolic conditioning. You get them not to be tired. Okay, we're succeeding at that point. But are we building speed? No. Speed is built at the beginning of the session. If you're thinking speed at the end of the session, you're training your youth, your teams wrong. So it's a big, important thing.
No problem. Better accuracy.
Okay. So clear? Very important. Again, you did the suicide at the end, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're building what? You're building the metabolic conditioning, endurance, but not power and speed. I think this is clear, right, everyone?
Yes.
Good. You came late, awake, ready? Okay. So this is speed, point A to point B, just quick definition. You have all of the book as I mentioned. And when we talk speed, it's linear. Okay. Maximum speed is the most important during linear events. Okay. Largely determined by technique and body type. Okay. Usain Bolt. Yes, Usain Bolt. Technique and body type. Okay, he has great mechanics, etc. But his body type, he has type 2X fibers, which is considered the explosive fibers. That's why he's a big champion, of course. All high-level athletes, elite athletes in explosive sports have type 2X or type 2B fibers. That depends on the source you're reading, depends on the book, which is
No, after I have a question.
which is basically if I'm training same training like Usain Bolt for 20 years, I can never be a Usain Bolt. I have Lebanese genetics that don't qualify me to win any kind of. So basically, what I want to try to say is, adding to that, Usain Bolt is tall, 2 meters, something close to 2 meters, as tall as this guy. Not same knees, but as tall. So the idea is, excuse me.
No, it's not the best example.
Yeah.
It's different.
So no, he did good yesterday. So he's so tall that his steps and his stride is tall. His steps, the stride length is big. It gives him an advantage along with good mechanics. Usually tall guys are lazy. Not only lazy, their mechanics are sloppy. They don't have good mechanics. He's blessed enough to be tall with great mechanics. That's why he was the fastest man on earth for a while, right? I think he's no longer.
Yeah, he's still.
Number 3, yeah. Okay. Your question?
Yeah. Hey, so here we give an example like this guy. He's a runner.
In Qatar?
No. This guy.
Oh.
So now when I teach like the other games like basketball or football or whatever, I have to teach them the same technique because there is something they have to use it like the football or the basketball.
You're saying for a regular sprint, linear sprint.
Now when I need to improve the speed for the players, for my players as a basketball or football, it's just speed.
Okay,
so
so-
here the technique should be the same or
Yeah. So what's this? Huh?
this is just run now.
The door.
Door? More than a door. Okay, that's a big voice. Okay, sound. So you went to the yesterday, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Because someone asked me. He was saying, Coach, why do we do it sprint without a ball?
Yeah.
Can't we have a ball? I said my answer was, yeah, sure, you can use the ball, but you can never attain max speed with the ball. So to develop better mechanics and improve your explosive fibers and your high-speed mechanics, you need to do stuff without the ball also. So we always teach technique first. The simplest way is the simplest way with a ball or without the ball. Without the ball. You teach and develop without the ball, and you had something like this also, or the rebound. Yeah?
Yeah, that's really
So and then you start to add the ball eventually. Now remember, he or she are always using the ball. So you use these extra sprints on the side in the session because the sprints with the ball are already being done, right? Can I add them as an SNC coach in my conditioning session? I can, especially when I get closer to the season. Because I mentioned yesterday that the more we get closer to the season, the more we become sports specific. Okay? And you missed a big day yesterday. I can't recap in 2 minutes, but but I'm trying to. I hope I helped with the answer.
Thanks.
Now we went over all these details yesterday. Yeah. All right. So low-level athletes should work on improving stride length. So kids or even first division athletes who are not really national team level, etc. First thing I work on, if I feel they are slower than others, is their stride length. We're gonna see today knee up, toe up, and bigger steps. Because some people, you notice they have very small steps. They have fast steps, but fast turnover of steps, but small ones. If we just increase the step range and focus on it by adding some drills in the gym, plus adding some cues on the court, the explosive knee up, toe up movement with a longer step will add value to his sprint. Now, higher level athletes, senior level or more explosive athletes, we improve their stride frequency and shorten contact time. شو يعني? What do I mean? So, anyone knows? What do I mean?
Frequency, the number of
Steps.
sequence and the less contact
Yes.
on the
Less contact time like plyometrics, boom, 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 very fast. If I see him,
plyometric. Like
yes, plyometrics.
type of plyometric.
Exactly. And stride frequency is how, let's say from here to there, one guy can cross it with 3 steps. I try to cross it with 6 steps, more frequency. I already have big steps. Now I try to add frequency, which means faster turnover, and then minimal contact time. By the way, if I have minimal contact time, تلقائيا أو immediately I'll have more frequency. So they come hand in hand. By the way, you have them all in the. I'm telling you, you have them all in the. You won't miss anything. Don't worry. Because I want to make sure that when you go study, check them out. If you forget anything, you want to go later and check stuff, you'll have it. So just for you to be comfortable. Same thing will be for level 2, same thing for level 3. In the book, you don't have information of level 2 and 3, but I'm saying when we do level 2, you will have quickness. Yeah.
Question regarding the speed. Is it better the court? So is it better to combine the work with the ball and without the ball in the same session? Is it benefit more than?
Very easy answer. We go always gradual. So would I give you? I told you yesterday, you don't jump before I teach you how to land. So same thing. It's a progression. So I would always start. So usually, if a team has an SNC coach, I know in Qatar I heard some. That's what I heard from you guys. It's not very common with teams to have SNC coaches yet. But it will happen, I'm sure, soon. Same thing was in Saudi 2 years ago, but now it started. Most teams are having SNC coaches. So I think all the guys eventually will start. But teach them how to sprint first. Good mechanics. When I say mechanics, I prefer to do it outside, but very basic thing. If your opposite hands are not moving correctly, your hand is not eye level, the other hand is pocket level, and moving opposites as you sprint with an aggressive knee up toe up and big steps, we cannot develop into using basketball. So we start without the basketball, develop these within a few sessions, then add a basketball. It's not hard, but just needs to be trained, taught. If I don't teach you, you don't know this. So I teach you that, and then I get the basketball. And by the way, he's gonna do the basketball. Like you might do this in the morning. Next day you might go do 3-on-3 and sprint with the basketball, or 5-on-5. And so he will do it anyways. He won't. The athletes won't stop, and like he won't sprint with the ball since you told him we're gonna do sprinting without the ball for this week. But I'm saying, ideally, theoretically, you want to develop without the ball, then with the ball. Soon enough, you'll be doing both together, of course. Because remember, and always my same sentence: athletes don't like to work without the ball. They'll be bored, right? And you don't want to lose your athlete's attention. That's your main. That's the rule of thumb. So that's my answer. You can mix them eventually, for sure.
Coach,
Yes. That's the last question that I need to put. Yeah.
there is any specific age to develop the speed, or all the same if you work as a coaches?
So basically, there is always age preferences, but I will tell you this: the earlier the kid is exposed to good technique, even the weight room, technique. The more he's exposed to good technique, the better the better chances to develop to better potential. So if I'm a senior national team player now,
Yes.
if I'm talented, I'm a senior national team player, but I'm lacking mechanics. So I have better potential I didn't reach yet. And then an SNC coach comes to help me, it might be too late. coming to, I want to make him unlearn bad habits, then learn good habits. I've seen it in Lebanon, in Saudi, all across.
It's
It's the
work
same.
on-
Even in the States when I was studying there, same.
Same.
It's hard.
It's very hard to share.
Very hard. I was. I interned at the University of Miami and Florida International University, NCAA Division I, 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old athletes coming in with very bad techniques. As a team of strength coaches over there, we're trying to help. It's very, very hard. First year, you need to regress a lot for these athletes. Most of them didn't lift weights before, or if they lifted way different than what we did out yesterday. So we have this first year or few months to make them unlearn, then to help them learn again. This curve is because the nervous system is hard to teach. I told you yesterday, I can teach you a bicep curl, but if I want to teach you in 2 days how to clean or how to snatch or good mechanics, very hard. Especially if you've been taught wrong. It's better, by the way, I'll keep it in your mind, it's better not to teach someone if you don't know, because if you teach him wrong and then he goes to a better coach wants to teach him right, you give him it's going to be a very hard time. So the athlete, if he came to your gym or to your facility or whatever, and he didn't have any training experience with these complex exercises, that's really better. We wish he trained good since young, but the second option would be better that he didn't have a previous bad experience. Anyway, these are nice stuff to.
Like technique in
Same.
Some guys they shoot extremely
Same.
wrong,
Yeah.
and now you cannot change. They are already 19, 20
True.
years old. I
True.
mean, how you can change?
100%. It's a combination of coordination with bad habits, with hand-eye coordination, and it's really complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, but also the nervous system. The nervous system is where it connects everything with this power to do this move, the shot, the sprint, and when the mechanics are faulty, it's really hard to teach. Anyways, it's a different broad topic, but good to note. Okay, let's postpone the questions like 10-15 minutes. Let me cruise, and then I'll give you the chance for a few questions. If you have a question, please write. Okay, if you don't mind. إذا في أي سؤال. So, acceleration is your start, right? Change in velocity over the time required to perform a movement. So, the start is crucial. To attain this high speed, it should be with a great start. Okay. It depends on the technique and the power output. So we talked about this stride turnover. Often considered more important than maximum speed, depends on the sport, very sport specific. Okay, so for a sprinter, it's different than a soccer player, the acceleration. For a soccer player, it would be changing direction and then needs to accelerate. For a sprinter, it's down and he sprints in one direction. Different sport. And I had a note here for you that for a sprinter, his job is to attain maximum speed as soon as possible. That's his game. Okay, otherwise. Speed endurance, we're going to do this today, we're going to do all these, but speed endurance specifically is what I talked about yesterday, the repeat sprint ahead. So to sprint, light break, sprint again. Light break, sprint again. Today you're going to get fatigued. You'll be called, but I would be like, we're doing sprints, why are you tired? We're not doing any 40-minute runs. So you all know that sprinting with short breaks gets you tired, for sure, that's common sense. But that's the game of basketball, stop and go, stop and go. You never run slow pace. Like maybe in soccer, sometimes you see a player who's walking on the court or enjoying it, sometimes. Different positions, right? And depends where's the ball on the court. But in basketball, very rare to happen. Transitions, going for a screen, a box out, or whatever. Is often more important than aerobic endurance. What's aerobic endurance? Let's go. It still happens to this day. I'm really pissed on this. Please, if you do it, don't do it anymore. I beg you. Let's go to the court early off season. let's run, build our stamina, 20, 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. If you did it before, okay, I understand. But after this course, please. All my friend coaches, all of them do it. That's why I know everyone does. Everyone likes to do it now because it's an easy way, which basketball coaches think that it helps my team to build the stamina, build the endurance. Sometimes under the sun for mental toughness, but other than Saudi sun is not really fun. Okay, speed testing. 5 to 100 meters sprint tests are common. So, do you need a 100-meter sprint for basketball?
No.
You don't need that. But when you test for speed, these are the distances, whether it's basketball or it's American football or whatever it is. Just as general knowledge. What's the basketball court dimensions?
28. 28.
Okay, you should know the dimensions. How much?
28.
Okay, you should know the dimensions because one, you're a basketball coach. Two, it's important because if your SSC coach told you want to do 100-meter sprints or 70-meter sprints, and in your mind, yeah, go do it. But then, why would I do it? I don't play these distances. You might say 70 was split in up and down, mimicking a basketball court, maybe. You might say I don't want to sprint them 28 because I want to go a bit more, maybe up to 40, to develop this, or to make it a bit harder than this on the court makes sense. But 100 is a different league, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so 5-meter sprints, 10-meter sprints, 20-meter sprints makes great sense. So baseline to 3-point line is an ideal distance for basketball athletes. Baseline, opposite baseline, to the opposite 3-point line, 3/4 of the court is a really sport specific distance. Basketball athletes move in this plus or minus from this rim to the other 3-point line. It's hard. The only guy who doesn't reach the 3-point line is Stephen Curry. He shoots from half court. The other guys go all the way, right? So you should understand your main distances. So acceleration is short sprints from 10 to 30 meters. That's how you can check the acceleration. Or you look at the techniques in these distances, okay? But max speed is not as short. Max speed is different. So max speed is, for example, I asked him, Yusuf. I asked Yusuf, please let's have a sprint to attain max speed. He says, okay, sure, I'm on the baseline. Yusuf's on the baseline, he starts sprinting. When he attains 10 meters, I have my laser unit set here. He crosses the 10 meters, now the laser unit's got Yusuf's starting point. So he's here, he sprinted. At the 10-meter mark, the laser got his 0 seconds. Sprint up to 30 meters, the other laser took the speed. Okay, now I know his max speed. So max speed is attained with a flying start. Clear? Okay. Can we get the acceleration, the flying start a bit less, and the maximum speed distance a bit less, trying to mimic a basketball court? Yes. But ideally, we need a bit of distance. Why? Because you can't attain speed with 2 meters.
Yeah.
You need this distance, which is the flying start, 10 meters, 15 meters, 20. Can we do adjustments for the basketball court? We can, but understand the theory first, okay? Coach, can we only for this test to understand the max speed, go do it on the soccer field? It's better, of course. You have more distance. Understood?
Yes.
Not all courts are like this Qatar Basketball Federation. We have distances. You have some wooden area there. Some courts are, you can barely move. Okay. For best results, 2 athletes of similar ability should test together. If I'm testing with Yusuf and he's the coach, it's better. Maybe especially if we're similar level, I will push him, he will push me without talking, just by competing, right? So it's boring to test Yusuf alone. It's boring to test for him to test me alone. It's nice to be tested together. So that's when you combine these athletes together. You can create a testing day, make it fun. If you've seen NCAA stuff, how it's done in the weight room, very fun vibes. I'm sure you've watched it on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Very interesting. So, chain of action testing, you realize today, by the way, we are talking about testing, but you realize that these are also exercises. So today, why I did this in this way? Today I'm gonna explain these tests in a way, maybe some of them you've seen. But then when we go outside, we will do them, but it's gonna be a workout. So any exercise will be a test, and any test will be an exercise. Clear? And let's go back to the gym. Yesterday someone asked me, can we do the 1 RM squat max? I said no, we don't do this anymore. We do 3 RM. 1 RM is not allowed anymore. It's a big high risk of injury. We go 3 RM and then extract from it the 1 RM. So basically we go less weight, less weight, and then do the 3 reps, let's say 3 to 5 reps, and then we extract the 1 RM from it, because high rep maxes or heavy weights for 1 rep are at high risk of injury for any athlete. That's why we stop this. In all good textbooks, they say they have to do so. So anyways, but is a squat a test only? Is the squat a test? It's an exercise also. Same thing here. Cool. So lots of these chain of direction tests could be also agility tests. What could be added to such drills? I'm going to explain them, but what could be added to make it an agility test?
Because there is transversal and reaction.
So no, there's no there's no applied stimulus or reaction added yet. It's only chain of direction here. But I'm saying to become an agility drill, you could add.
You decide the direction.
Yes, eventually you could add any stimulus of reaction, whether lights, whether a coach signaling where to move, etc. Okay. Is this concept clear, or someone's having difficulties English because of tamam? Okay. So look at this drill. The T test. We're gonna do everything outside. 5 or 10 yards. You can change it. It could be 5, it could be 10. That's fine. Yards plus or minus is meters. Okay. So sprint in front of the cone. In front of the cone. Okay, come back. Then, so the cone is now behind me. I sprinted, cone is behind me. I shuffle left. I don't look at the cone. I shuffle. As soon as I notice the cone, now I'm shuffling left, right? Going here. Until I'm here. I shuffle. When I see the cone on my right, I barely touch the tip and then go to the other side. Kinesthetic awareness. I'm working on these stuff as I make to change direction. So usually what would the athlete do? No. I force him to go in front of the cone. Okay? Shuffling full speed, I don't allow him to look. I allow him just with the peripheral part of his eye to be able to see the cone when he crosses it. Okay, touch it and go again. So I want him to be very aware and not losing time looking at something he doesn't need to look at. When you practice these, I will emphasize on them more. Shuffle all the way 5 yards or 5 meters, then all the way 5 plus 5, 10 meters, then all the way back from the same position, back pedal. So what did we do here? Sagittal plane, or to make it simple, the language, straight sprint, lateral shuffle, other direction, lateral shuffle, back pedal. But you will notice at the lateral shuffle, this is a bit controversial, like I'm gonna mention. When you shuffle, when you change direction, how do you change? What?
Position of
Cross
cross
leg.
leg.
Cross leg, you're saying?
No,
No,
this is
same leg, same leg.
I don't understand. I'm going. What do I do now? I want to go
Left, now left,
That's
left leg, you go first.
not cross leg.
Not cross leg.
Not cross.
Okay. Let's forget the cross leg thing.
Yeah.
But my question is, when I'm going, now where do I put my weight?
Down.
Here or here?
Here.
Here.
So it's close.
Okay, look at this. You can try it on the court, by the way. And this needs to be trained. If it wasn't trained, you will not do it correct. When I go here, if I put my weight here, then go, I'm gonna be slow as, or continue the same. very fast in the transition.
Central.
Exactly.
But he looks now exactly like defense slice, right? In basketball.
I'm talking about that lateral shuffle, yes.
Okay. If we teach this way, we teach them wrong.
What's the idea?
Always you need to keep the leg away from the defense. This is the open leg. If I move this one before this meaning the offense will.
I will not interfere. You are the coaches, not me. But my job is to explain this, how the transition very fast. Look at this. I'm going here, right?
Yeah.
I'm shuffling.
Yeah.
Put your leg out. You are the coach, not me. You are more specialized. But I'm saying, if I put my what he told me, someone told me to push from the outside and go inside. So I'm here, push and go.
Not
No,
like,
we didn't
no,
say
it's
this.
not
Not
like
pushing.
exactly
We didn't say
pushing,
this.
putting
Not
all
push.
the way.
Just
I will.
Can you come do it? Come.
Yes, please.
Come.
It's more than a dig.
Let's see.
It's
So
transferring the
Now
push.
let's see.
when
Show
I'm
me,
gonna
show.
go defense slice,
Yalla.
okay? Now if I need to go this side, I have to move this.
Yes, yes,
yes.
Not this.
That's
If
Yes.
I move this one, then
But you
defense will
push,
beat
you
me
push.
easy.
But you
Can you
push
do it
the-
faster speech?
Yes.
No, no, no.
Even
Yes,
if touching
that's
the
the way you
defense-
push.
Wait, let's go one by one, please. Let's go one by one because we can't understand. 1 second, please.
This is for a second.
Yeah.
If I put my weight here,
Okay.
the defense will beat me easy. I should not put, there is two key, I cannot jump, and also I cannot put both leg in the there. So now I'm gonna go the defense this side.
Okay.
You need to change direction. If I move with this, he beat me easy. So
Yes, yes.
when I go back, I have to go with this.
Yeah.
This is the basic. I'm talking about
Okay.
defense.
So
not,
so basketball. Perfect. Thank you. So again, basketball technically, I will not interfere. You understand the game 10 times more than me. That may be very clear, especially that you are a basketball coach. But my job is to explain a lateral shuffle, how to make it faster. So remember what I said about the sprint? We do it without the ball, we improve mechanics, then go and add the ball, we add technicals, we add. So to talk about the shuffle, if you're here, which is faster, which is slower? If you're here and you put your weight here, we're gonna do it on the court. If you're here, I'm gonna do it a bit faster. Here, boom, and then go back. It's slower than if you're here, wait inside, then I go back. That's what I meant with the whole idea. I don't know if you understood or not.
Yes,
You say the same.
The
Yes,
same.
This,
You say the
for
same.
offense,
It's the same thing?
you say the same.
The same thing.
Perfect.
This is the same.
It's the same.
It's the same?
It's the same.
Yeah,
Again, technically, I will never give my opinion, basketball-wise. This is better, but I want to talk about how to transition the speed better. I hope you understood what I mean, because that's my role. Maybe some other time a basketball coach will come give a lecture and be technical, way more than me. That's maybe your foot should be this way. No, that's not my job. Especially that there's opinions also in this, I believe, right? Maybe one coach would have a different opinion, maybe in the defensive stance. Maybe one coach will say close middle, the other coach will say open middle. Maybe one coach will be like, I'm talking the right sense, right?
Yeah.
But again, my goal is how to transition faster. When you try it on the court, you will notice that whoever is is shifting a lot his way to the outside, is looking at the center of mass control. You mentioned this. You will lose the center of mass control, and then it will be slower to transition. Okay. We will see some people doing it better, some people doing it worse. We'll get two examples. We'll see it clearly in front of us, and then if you have an extra comment over there.
So even for us, there's a theory that says that you have to cross. I mean, even for us, sometimes.
Yeah, you have to cross your foot.
Yes.
Cross.
Sometimes.
And they
By
use-
the way, for the cross, again, technically I don't interfere a lot, but if you want to ask my side opinion on the cross, I wasn't a big fan of it, but after monitoring and watching lots of high-level athletes doing it, I'm becoming a fan.
It's needed sometimes.
I'm
Cross,
becoming a
can you
fan.
show
But
us
again,
the cross, please?
Yes.
Can they show us the cross?
any show, please.
And they use LeBron James.
Can you show him one example?
to do this.
Can you show?
We don't
Instead
take
of-
LeBron James like defense.
It's instead of using the inside leg, you cross first and
Show,
then
show, if you don't mind.
That technique we use it, generally we use it, but
Yes, I mean, I just say that this theory.
both.
Yo,
Yeah,
you
don't
want
do
to
this.
close the hole, you fall down.
You don't use this. You don't.
So let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let's delay basketball. Hey, let's delay basketball. Okay, you guys are basketball passionate people. Listen. Okay, it was good to change the vibe a little bit, but let's end the basketball part. Listen, please. Let's keep the focus. By the way, just good info. Everything, even if it's unorthodox, even if it's away from our thoughts, but it could help our athlete improve, why not? I'm not going to go into basketball, but I've monitored lots of high-level athletes, especially NBA athletes, using this method. It works pretty well, but again, it doesn't work for any athlete. If you're not a very high-level athlete with a good mechanics doing it, don't do it. Like a clean, like a snatch, stuff, go baby steps. Same in any profession. You can't teach him a crossover, whatever it is, and then he doesn't know how to shuffle the basic shuffle. So that's to be clear. All right, let's get back. No more basketball talking. It's your fault.
I can.
One day you came and did all this. Okay, let's continue this. No, actually, it's really nice to talk about this stuff, but let's keep the SNC part our main focus. 5-10-5 drill. Oh, before the 5-10-5, if you went up, left, right, back, and back pedal, shouldn't you have another set doing the opposite? Up, right, left. So always think both sides. Don't forget, don't do your athletes one side and forget it's the same. Oh, we did it. No. It's different. You did only shuffle 5 yards left, 10 yards right, 5 yards left. So what's the difference? On the left you did only 5 and did 5. On the right you did full 10. Different. You need to switch sides.
Is there a ideal time for this?
So basically you time them and compare, always compare. Is there metrics done for a different test? Yes, there is. But you wouldn't care for now. For now, you would care about your athletes. You don't want to compare him to LeBron, you want to compare your athletes to your athletes. Maybe position based. And then compare after a month, after 2 months. Are there times, numbers? Today, when you do the repeat sprintability test outside, I will compare your numbers to two numbers in the NCAA, women and men. Okay? It'll be embarrassing, but you'll notice that most of us, if not all of us, forget the ladies numbers. I did it with national teams, and they got ladies numbers. That doesn't mean we are bad, but that's different. Over there, they are on a different level. Okay? But that's why I'm telling you, we don't care about other numbers. But sometimes it's good to compare, to see, to have it as a baseline. But you compare yourself and your team to your team. Your point guard show the progress after a month, reward them. Like show him nice, a few nice words are nice sometimes. He didn't do well, it's either him to blame not showing to practice, or his strength coach is bad, or there's no strength coach at all in the team, as he told me. Okay, but if he's not progressing, then the program is wrong, right? Something's wrong. Sometimes it might be overtraining. Sometimes the speed is not developing, not because he is weak, because he is overtraining. Overtraining means what? Not always injury. It starts with what? It starts with bad sleep. Yes, he can't. If you overtrain, some signs are you won't sleep well. That's simple. Not sleeping well will kill your second day. Sorry. No. I'm not saying not sleeping well is bad only. I'm saying overtraining symptoms is making you not being able to sleep. Yeah. So this being said, your performance will drop. Eventually, injuries will come 110%. But injury doesn't start second day, but it will come down the line. Pro agility drill is very common in American football drill. I also do it for basketball athletes. Very interesting, very basic drill. Change of direction. You're at the middle, starting here. On you, like I asked Yusuf, please, you're in the middle. Whenever you want, you can start. He's ready. When Yusuf starts, I start my clock. He goes, he starts, sprint 5 meters, 5 yards. then change direction after he crosses the cone, 10 yards, then switches direction, passes the middle cone. When Yusuf crosses the cone, I stop the clock. If there is lasers, excellent, but that's more expensive. If there's no lasers, you can't do it. Of course you can do it. You just need to be accurate. And then next month when you test, should be the same tester, same clock you use, same timing, same everything. You can't one day use on the basketball court, second test after a month on the soccer field. That's not a valid test, not a reliable test.
No barring. يعني جدول يعني.
For what? I don't understand.
For يعني عشان تعرف يعني performance.
Performance scale.
You mean to write it down?
Yeah, no, performance to compare.
For example, he's working for 15
For
inch.
15
There is a
second,
table
this
written
is
for 15
good,
inch that he can
That's why
compare.
you get the
the-
Ah, you want numbers to compare to?
Yes.
Yeah, times.
That's what you mean?
Yes.
I was answering him a second ago. You can find a lot online. Oh yes, they are By the way, they are part of combines. Combines are, if you watch the NFL combine, NBA combine, etc., they go do tests with metrics. You can go see all these players, what kind of numbers they did on the vertical jump, on the 3/4 sprint drill, three-fourths of the court, on the pro agility, like different games have different tests. But yes, you can go find numbers all over the internet. If you want to have the break, we can get them out. So you can find them all very easy. But I was telling him, as a start, you want to compare your athletes to your own athletes. And what I mean is, compare your point guards together. Don't compare your point guards
Big guy.
to Morant. So that's demotivated, doesn't make sense. So start with your own team, and if you want extra numbers to see how far you are, yeah, you can go check it anytime. Because these are not tests I created, these are tests adopted by big leagues. 3-cone L drill is a sprint. Sprint back. Sprint back. So sprint, change, sprint, change. Now on the third change, 1, 2, 3. Now there's a aggressive angle, and we go from the outside of the cone, you finish back. So 1, 2, 3, boom. A bit more complicated, but it's another drill that adds also an aggressive angle to change direction. This is very basic. Sprint, lateral, lateral. Here there is more rotation. So again, I remember day one, yesterday I was saying you should have all directions. Okay? It's not always forward or backward, not always forward and backward and lateral. It's forward, backward, lateral, lateral rotations. In other words, diagonals. Okay?
Is it the same for the t-test? We need to do the opposite.
I said that. Yeah, I was saying
For the 3-cone.
oh yeah, of course. 100%. Any test you do, even this.
Even, yeah.
This Yusuf was in the middle, he went right. First set. Second set,
Switch.
I either switch him or I do 3 sets of this side, finish 3 sets of that side. When he goes right, he will hit left. But I said, remember from this test, if he went 5 yards, then he went 10 yards left, he should do the opposite. Go 5 yards left and go 10 yards right. He should. Always engraving this in the minds of the athlete to make sure he's comfortable with all positions, all directions. Trust me, it does magic over months and years. Magic. If you're also focused on the details of the technique, that's a must. Right, very good. Check the clock. Very good. Let's start to push a little bit. So agility is clear by now. You see the light, you see the change of direction, the symbols. I explained this 1,000,001 times for now. A quick agility session. What is composed? What are the components of that session? General warm-up, plus or minus 10 minutes. It's corrective based, similar to what you did yesterday. What it will be more with a jog, with a baseline to half-court distance, like you do before games. We'll do today. Injury-related issues. If someone has any tightness issues, problems clear from the assessment, every player has. They will be engraved in the warm-up. Okay. Dynamic neural warm-up. So basically the warm-up is plus or minus from 12,
20.
15 minutes to 20, 25 minutes. Doesn't mean he's running all the time, no. Warm-up starts very slow and goes up with it. Change of direction and agility drills. So this is an agility session. I can't change reaction before, first of all, introducing change of direction. You do some easier drills at the beginning, and then you add some agility drills. A total of 40 minutes. Does he have breaks? Yes, long breaks, of course. A minimum ratio on the change of direction drills. Minimum ratio of rest intervals would be 1 to 3 to 1 to 4. What does that mean? If he sprints 10 seconds, he should rest at least 30 to 40 seconds. If he sprints 5 seconds,
20.
15 to 20, 1 to 3.
Which one is?
One, I don't have
Which
it.
one?
1, 2 points, 3. It means the ratio is work 1, rest 3. If he's sprinting for 1 second, he rests how much?
3 seconds.
3 to 4 seconds. 3 to 4. If he sprints 5 seconds,
15
15 to 20 seconds. Understood?
Yes.
Very should be easy. When I finish these, I go for the metabolics if needed that day. What are the metabolics? I mentioned it also 10 times. It means I also need to keep building his endurance and his
Yes.
anaerobic endurance, his speed endurance, his repeat sprintability to be able to sprint and sprint again. So this comes at the end. Coach, can we put it at the beginning? No, you can't. If you want to build this at the beginning, you killed the workout. Creatine phosphate ATP. Merci, au revoir. Okay. So, and then cool down. So, after day 1 yesterday, we all understand that this cannot be at the end, and this cannot be at the beginning. We agree? We agree on that? All right. Question?
Session, yeah, it's like.
And this is an agility session, by the way, not a full conditioning session. Now I will mention this. I mentioned the agility session because I feel it's one of the most neglected and most important. And I focus a lot since yesterday on the difference between agility and change of direction, agility at the reaction, blah blah blah. That's why I did this also. If you want it to be a full conditioning session, the difference would be the following. After this, you'll have technique training and coordination. Yeah, for example, landings, for example, ladder, for example, coordination drills. Okay, coordination drills. Hand and legs moving in the opposite directions. After the technique, plyometrics and sprint / plyometrics. So, if you want to have some linear sprints, linear, not change of direction,
Straight.
some linear sprints to develop speed, or you want to do some explosive jump on the field, on the court, this is the time, after the technique. Why? Creatine phosphate is still full. We talked about this day 1. We talked about this yesterday. Creatine phosphate is full in my system. I do my jumps, remember the volume is? Yeah, the reps and sets of the jumps are, we don't do 50 jumps, 60, 70, we said it's wrong. Big misconception, we talked about this yesterday. I will not repeat it. If you need to repeat it, I will. I think it's. After this, we can have some ballistics drills, which are slower jumps, if you remember. Not plyometrics, ballistics. It means, for example, a jump and a stop. A jump and a stop. Without the ground contact time issue we talked about yesterday. I think we're all on the same page. أنا زعلان عشان والله بس مش عارف كيف بس you should check the video. لأنه it's hard to get you through the system fast. لأنه it was dense يعني. Okay. So after the ballistics, by the way, you'll be like, coach, ballistics for the whole body, there's no ballistics for the upper body. If I grab a med ball and throw it on the wall, boom, upper body ballistics, yes. Of course there is. And you should have it on your workout. Going on a soccer field, taking a med ball, going for an RDL, stretching the hamstrings, loading them, boom, throwing it all the way up or all the way up, vertically or horizontally. Isn't that ballistic? But that's ballistic. So all I'm saying is, explosive work is at the beginning of the work. Then comes COD plus agility. Or agility. Then comes metabolics. This is a conditioning session. Coach, I did yesterday speed work at the end of the workout. Is it right? No, it's wrong. Completely wrong. Coach, at the beginning, they came late. I gave them a punishment of 20 suicides. Wrong. You can't. You killed the session. You can't punish without knowing what you're doing. You are wasting the creatine phosphate and the ATP when you really need it. We supplement creatine phosphate because we need more. And then you kill it. Wadah, clear for everyone. Very important. And mistakes we do with a good intent. We don't have a bad intent, but we do it. Because we want to make him pay for coming late. But he shouldn't pay this way. Make him pay in another way. I'll give you an example in the gym. Good to know. When we were upset from, what's your name?
Tamer.
Tamer came into the gym. First thing you think about to punish him, what is it?
Push-up.
Push-ups, yes. Who said that? Who? Give me 10 push-ups. Okay. So, but that's, if you listen to my lecture yesterday, that's not a good thing. Why?
It's not warmed up.
No, that's consider you warmed up. You too, I did. So let's say you warmed up, but if potentially lots of us have a minor kyphosis, minor upper cross, minor. You're sitting, working. Sometimes I also tend to develop it. Then I work on myself again because I have lots of office work. The idea is,
Work on your chest.
if your chest is tight, and I'm working on all these imbalances, I punish you by activating your chest. You know how I punish my athletes? I punish them doing rows.
Pulling.
The opposite.
It's a fun. At first, it's easy, but then when I add reps, it won't be easy. After warm-up, of course. But I punish him with something beneficial. He gets bored, doesn't like it, but for me, I'm happy because I'm getting what I want. He's punished, yet he's benefiting. Punishments, we don't think. Go do 10 push-ups. Everyone does this, not you. Everyone. Wrong. Except if he has a great posture, okay, do push-ups. But with the Netflix era right now, we don't have good posture, all the time. Okay. Any question till now? Any question? Okay. So, if you wanna do coffee or drink, whatever, feel free. So the idea is, yeah.
إذا أنت بدك تعمل بالسيشن conditioning as capacity, if you want to work on capacity.
If I work on capacity.
For your endurance, you begin with this.
With what, sorry?
With the capacity, with the long runs or to build capacity.
But this being said, you don't have other stuff in the workout today.
Other?
Let's say you did the repeat sprint, you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, great. What's after it in the workout?
The other components I want to work on.
Like jumping and stuff?
No.
Like?
Tactics? No way.
Tactics or anything.
Oh,
No way.
you are involving a basketball session.
Accessories, anything.
You are involving now the basketball session. That's what we mean with the conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you can't. So basically, when a basketball coach comes to, I work with maybe more than 8 basketball coaches, as I told you. They come in a sense, please, I mean, today kill them. I'm like, no, that's not like this. Because if they're injured, it's my fault. It's always hard to convince the basketball coach with this, but over time it works. It works very well. And then the coach will trust you more, the SNC coach more, because you understand that the SNC coach knows what he's doing. But what I want to say is the following. You can go and do before a basketball session, what you can do is only sprint work and explosive work for short duration. If it's long duration, you will risk over use of these delicate muscles, hamstrings, adductors, etc. But if you want to work on the work capacity or the speed, endurance, etc., it should be at the end of the basketball session. So you can do it. But it can't be at the beginning, then go play your basketball session. Because we're back to the same problem. You wasted the energy source. That's your question? No?
I didn't mean انه نرجع نعمل to do a basketball session after. I only wanted to know if we work on capacity, we should work at the beginning of the session to have all the energy to work on the capacity. We do some light things after, it's okay. But my question is, can we start or prefer to start at the beginning of the session as capacity work?
So that's what I'm trying to say. End your sessions always.
Okay.
And even if it was the only component you want to work on this day, you had 20 minutes locked in, you don't have time. Doesn't do with touch and leave. Except one thing I would say yes, I'd accept it, which is if you want to finish the workout and do some corrective exercises at the end to relax and fix some stuff, yes. But technicalities and after the extreme fatigue, go for extreme shooting, no. Maybe light shooting could be an option since it's an easy skill, not some, so that's it. All right, let's get back. If you have these concepts clear, I am really confident that without taking level 2 and level 3, you jumped 40 or 50% in how to program your session. I believe that. Even without doing day 2 yet. We didn't do it yet. We didn't do the practice yet. But you understand the ordering now. If not, please raise your hand. Tell me. حدا عنده مشكلة بالموضوع? Anyone? ما حد يستحي منه. No one. Please don't feel embarrassed or something. Just let me know. Because this is very important to take from day 1 and the beginning of day 2. Ordering. If you go to the gym, yourself or your strength coach, you see him doing jumps at the end of the session, no, it's wrong. Understand that it's wrong. It should be at the beginning. Speed, power at the beginning, then strength, then accessories. At the end of the session, what is this exercise? What's this? It's ballistic, coach, because I'm not going very fast off the table. Because I'm going fast, but not very fast. Because I'm going down, then up. It's slow, not less than 0.3 seconds. So I'm going, but it's fast, but not fast enough. So it's a ballistic. If I'm in the gym or on the basketball court, is this position in the session at the beginning, plus or minus at the beginning or at the end? That's my first question. Beginning. A ballistic comes before plyometrics and before technique? No, I said in the condition on the court, warm up, technique, plyometrics, sprints and plyometrics, they come together, then ballistics. You can write them down if you want to. Yeah. Level 2 and level 3, you will be very comfortable programming, very comfortable. But now you are comfortable with the concept. Am I mistaken?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, look at these. Yesterday we did ballistics and few plyometric drills. We did landings. Reminder, we did landings forward. We did landings lateral. Coach, can we do landings backward? Of course you can. Of course. But do I start backward before I start forward? No. Same concepts. جيب ولد صغير. You get a small kid. عندك تمرين يمنعك رباط الصليبي. تدقر لورا خلفي على طول. You start going backwards first day, promising that this will prevent ACL, Mr. Young kid. Then you tear his ACL. It is not ready for doing anything backwards, right? You start forward, then you do whatever you want. And the progress is as follows, by the way. It's always forward, lateral, then forward, backward, then lateral, then any rotational component. This will transfer to our warm-up today, by the way. Warm-up will respect this rule. Forward, lateral, rotation. If I see a strength coach or basketball coach starting the warm-up with a rotation, I understand he doesn't know anything. Clear? If I see a coach starting with a lateral, I know he doesn't know anything. I respect him because he might be not exposed for this kind of information, but I'm saying SNC wise, strength and conditioning wise, this is not close to correct. Clear? Landing technique drills is very important. I mentioned this yesterday, I really say this again. 80% of ACL injuries, Aspetar is here. All the research comes out of Aspetar. but just for you to know, you have a huge resource center here in Qatar, which is Aspetar. I've been following them maybe 10 years now. Big resource for medical studies, SNC, physical therapy, maybe a bit technical for people who don't have a background, maybe a bit technical, but crazy resource. They talk about all these kinds of, sorry?
A lot of surgeries.
Yeah, but also they do research for the, I don't know what happens in there, but I'm saying all the research. So, yeah. So the idea is, they talk about them and others, that landing, bad landing is plus or minus 80% of all ACL injuries. ACL is a non-contact injury, not always, but a big majority of it is non-contact. I told you my example. I ruined both ACLs before studying this profession as an athlete, all by landing, bad landing. Because I've never been trained to land. All I did is jump. And I started to dunk. I was happy, dunk. I'm not ready to land until I reach this point. And will every athlete who wasn't exposed to good landing get injured? No. But you are increasing the risk of injury. Do you want that as an SNC coach? No. As a basketball coach? No. It's the biggest hottest topic on the market, injury prevention. This TV is injured. Okay. Jumping and bounding, so we teach landing drills, we teach all kinds of jumps. By the way, we did very basic jumping. We're gonna do more jumping today, but it's a world. Teaching jumping, you can write a book about it. Because lots of drills, lots of variations, lots of progressions, regressions. Are we gonna do all today? No. Plus, remember, we mentioned yesterday, we cannot cross a certain limit of jumps. Okay? Already we have some people already have some knee issues, so we can't. Box or hurdle drills also, mat ball drills. We mentioned there are some mat ball drills that will be done for the lower and upper body, for the upper body only, for the upper body and core, upper and lower body rebound. So this is the plyometrics ballistics section. You understand the difference between ballistics and plyometrics.
Yes.
You might not understand one word you might understand better. That's not a big deal. What I care about is this. You understand this? It comes at the top of the workout. But this comes before. Clear? Okay. What is this? Technique and preparation drills. Today we're going to do a drill. We're going to sprint from line A to line B. You're going to push back, push forward, push backwards. You're going to notice when you do it. I'm going to explain outside. Every time we do it at a higher speed, when I reach forward, you're going to do this. Take your back leg off, then go back. Take your backward off, never. Your feet should always be on the ground for better balance. They should be on the ground. Look at this. They're here. Boom. Big step. Boom. This leg is never off the ground. You're going to notice it. One guy is coaching, one of the guys running. You're going to do it wrong. You're going to tell him. You're going to do it wrong again. You're going to tell him. You're going to do it. So that's how we teach them young. If the young kids know it, they reach a higher level, you're not going to worry about these stuff. You're going to worry about his skills. That's your job. If you give this importance, if you advise their parents to take them to an SSC coach, if your club doesn't do it already, you're saving a lot of effort and energy, and you're guaranteeing that your kid is potentially, if he's skilled, to become a way better player. It's good for you, good for the parents, good for the kid. Because this technique I taught you now, for example, is all like the shuffle I told you. It's all about efficient energy transfer. So if I'm doing the drill, he can do it. Everyone can do it, right? But if I do it more efficient, I have a better chance to do it faster than him. Except if he's genetically, if he's another Usain Bolt type of very explosive athlete, even if he doesn't run, he will beat me. That's a different thing. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Footwork activities, drag training, overspeed training. This is very important, by the way. If I want to develop speed, I need to work on these muscles, the hip flexors, iliopsoas and quadriceps, mainly the iliopsoas, which helps with the knee drive. Hip extension, we talked about yesterday, hip power. And then the knee drive, very important. So if I want to work on the knee drive, what is some good exercises to do, not in the gym? Give me something without the need of a gym. Very important. Sorry? Without gym equipment.
Oh.
What is it?
Lunges?
High knees. We'll talk about this, but not a bad option. What did you say, sorry?
Lunges?
Not really, not really.
The bench,
I don't understand.
overhead.
Well, I didn't understand.
you can go
Step up?
step up on the bench.
Step up to knee raise.
Yes.
Good, good. So step up to knee raise. Not bad, okay. But I'm trying to tell you, ignore the bench and ignore equipment.
Yeah.
What you said is not wrong, what you said is not bad.
You can add the bench for that.
Again, no equipment.
You can do some coordination, as you mentioned, with the hands and the legs, variety of steps.
But you're not going in the sprinting mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay? So look at this very basic thing. Very basic. Sand training.
Yes.
You should, it's not a regular run on the sand, it's always harder, right? If you want to do a sprint on the sand, it's harder than doing a sprint on the basketball court. I'm not saying go do sprints on the sand every day, you'll get injured. I'm saying it's a good variation. If in this phase, I want to work on her speed. She's slow, we want to work on her speed. We go to the beach, do certain amounts of sprints on the sand because it's considered drag training. D-R-A-G, drag. I need to push harder to activate the hip flexors. Another example. Slopes. To make it, so in Arabic with English, small mountains, like, going up the hill.
Les côtes.
Okay.
Les côtes.
Côte?
En français, les côtes.
Les côtes, les côtes.
My French is beginner, so I learned French in school, but I understand very well with this word though. Okay, so small slopes, if it's an aggressive slope, it doesn't make sense, no. That's why high knees is not very sprint specific. But slight slopes, some gyms have slight slopes. You go to a certain, in the States I've seen a lot of these, outdoor potential in the park or somewhere to just sprint on them. Lovely for sprints, sprint mechanics. Why? They force you to lift your knee. You can't, if you have a slope, can you sprint regular like this? You can't. Go on a slope and try it. You understand what I'm saying? Third example, stairs. Stairs, Daraj.
Yes.
Sprinting on stairs, you're forced. It's not high knees, it's diagonally up. Not as high as it, no. It's this way. A sprint exactly like a sprint mechanic. Very high stairs, coach, very big, no. Normal stairs. A bit more, a bit less, but it's basically just to trigger this diagonal upward motion. Okay? So,
water مثلا إذا كان في
water?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's too much water, no, it will kill the mechanics. It should be very minimal. Parachute in a big park. Connect a parachute. Could be a great option also. Coach, can I pull him with an elastic band? And this is a very common mistake. People go and pull the athlete with an elastic band, and the athlete very bad mechanics. No, That's bad. If it was to be a band, it should be light. 10 to 30%, 10 to 20% max, 5 to 20% max actually, of the athlete's weight. For example, in my personal opinion, always go less. In other words, to make it simple math, light band. I don't want to kill his mechanics. I want to just offer him a minor resistance for him to add what? The knee and hip flexion, this motion. Clear? So when you see someone putting aggressive, no, it's wrong. In the gym, the sled, you know the sled, the one you push? You know it, right? What do you call it in Arabic?
Sled.
Sled. Okay. The sled, same thing. If you're pushing the sled with the, if you're trying to drive the sled as you sprint, it's very good also. Going very heavy with the sled for sprinting purposes is also bad because it will offset the mechanics. I'm not saying you cannot load the sled and do other drills. You can. But I'm saying for sprinting purposes, no. So more weight, faulty mechanics. Less weight, better mechanics. We teach mechanics first. We are training movements, not muscles. Clear? For Instagram, that's not nice, but that's what we need to do. Alright. Overspeed training, very interesting. Overspeed training. What is this? Excellent. What do you say?
Going down more.
Downhill, you mean? Downhill. Very excellent answer. Well, I said, what's overspeed training? He said downhill. Downhill? No. It should be a minor slope. Minor, small slope. Why? What happens downhill?
Deceleration?
What's that?
Speed.
جمهور فاصل
He's translating. He's translating the English to Arabic, but then the guy talks French, so now he got لحظة please but do me a favor شباب معلش
نتكلم عن مركز الثقل.
اوكي الثقة؟
مركز الثقل.
Oh, okay, center of mass. But please guys, if you want to talk, everyone please raise your hand because it's becoming chaos. No, it's fine, So minor inclination, minor slope, you have to have faster feet. So I'm pushing you for a better stride, length or frequency?
Frequency.
We talked about this, remember? Stride length, stride. If you're in an overspeed position, in a decline, I'm imposing on you to go for higher stride means steps. Stride frequency. No, you're still running, but you can't. When you're going uphill, it's slower, less frequency. You're going downhill, you're forced to go.
Yeah.
You can't.
And shorter steps also.
So overspeed training, one of the examples is a decline slope. But it shouldn't be a very decline slope, it will kill the mechanics. Mind it. Another example, who can give me? Think of something.
Stairs? Is it? Stairs going down?
No, and it's a high risk of injury also. No. Yeah.
But even on a decline, little bit decline surface, it will not affect the hip extension. So if you will take up, maybe you will change the technique to decelerate.
No, if it's a minor, remember, if it's really a good decline, it's bad. If it's an increased decline, it's bad. Minor decline. So you can still have the mechanics, but a bit faster. That's the whole goal. Very important. Guys, please focus. Minor decline. Mechanics first. Mechanics, add a decline minor. Is good. You want to add a bit more grade. You felt faulty mechanics, stop, go back. Other example, please. Who can think of something?
What is the running machine?
Good, the curved treadmill.
Yes.
The curved treadmill, that means a gym, but that's fine. The curved treadmill, the curved one, the more you sprint on it, the faster your feet are forced to move.
Yes.
You know what, the curved one?
Yes.
You don't have it in this gym, that's why I'm saying if you know. I have it in my gym, I always like it with my athletes, like doing doing it because it imposes overspeed. It's in a curved way that mimics the sprinting mechanics. The sprinting mechanics are like this: 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. On a regular treadmill, you can't do this. You can't do the same exact mechanics. Third thing, using an elastic band without money, without anything. Very basic. You can do it on the basketball court. I'm connected to Mustafa. Mustafa is sprinting. He's sprinting, and I'm with a tall band far away from him. I'm sprinting backwards, and he's sprinting towards me. I'm pulling him towards me. So I'm pushing him to go faster, right? I'm not pulling him backwards. I'm pulling him forward. بس حطيه أمامي. So باتجاه. واضح؟ Clear? If I'm too close to Mustafa, it doesn't make sense. It's not comfortable. 1, 2. I won't be able to come to really leverage on, to really pull him in the right direction. So I take a decent long band, and I'll be able to connect it to my hips and sprint backwards as I don't need to really pull. As long as I'm sprinting backwards, I'm already pushing on him. Do I need to really push aggressive? No. It's only minor pushes forward to increase this overspeed goal, the stride frequency I need. So we talked today, if you go back a few slides, we said beginner athletes need to work on what? Low level athletes. Stride length or frequency?
Lower?
Stride.
Length.
What do you think?
Not frequency.
Bigger step.
Exactly. Slow level athlete. Let me get it back to you to remember, because I felt something most of the day about this.
Length بعدين frequency.
So it's here. Low level athletes. High level athletes, frequency. Now you know how to work on stride frequency. The drag training works on.
Stride.
You connected the dots? So the inclination, the sled, the band, pulling the opposite, not towards. The stairs improves this. The overspeed training improves this. We're good? Clear? Okay. So now, without any excessive knowledge or any excessive literature, etc., you know what develops the speed for low-level athletes, what develops the speed for high-level athletes. How to think if you want to develop either or, stride or frequency, what kind of examples without paying money. Is it expensive to get the band? Is it expensive to go do stair work? But again, or sand train or whatever, but again, it's at an expense. If you don't understand how to program, and you tend to do it, okay, you want to work on your speed, let's go every morning to the sand. Overtraining, say. You're gonna overtrain them. So with the extra knowledge, you should also be mature enough to understand I should take baby steps with my athlete. Just like teaching him, just like a new guy to basketball. Does it make sense that this guy goes and plays every day 5-on-5 game for 2 weeks? How high is the chance for him to get injured? He will get injured, no chance, right? Versus a high-level athlete might be able to take 4 or 5 back-to-back games. It's not ideal, it's not good, but he might be able to take it, right? Because he's used to higher stresses. Some tournaments impose on you back-to-back games. Let's say, when they do the Arab tournaments, those Dubai tournaments, they used to do friendly tournaments, whatever, back-to-back games. It's not like a regular league, you go and rest 2 days, no. And now, by the way, this being said, now this year, the Wasl League. You know the Wasl? You heard of this? No?
No.
Oh, the Wasl League is going to be, I don't know if Qatar is part of the West Asia.
The name you can keep the name.
West Asia Super League. Geographically, Qatar is considered in West Asia. I'm not sure. Anyways, what's this league about? Why am I mentioning it? Very important. Part of this league is going to be like a professional league with lots of traveling and lots of money for the teams who win. It's a new system that they created with FIBA.
It's like EuroLeague, but in Asia.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. So it's not yet well marketed, but I know the people who are in charge, so I know about the league. It's going to start this year. I don't know if after the World Cup or before, everyone is handling based on that. So what's this league about? It's about adding 1 game per week for top teams in each country. For example, who's the champion league? Al-Sadd won?
Yes.
Okay, Al-Sadd won the championship. So Al-Sadd, if they are part of this league, they will be flying once a week to play games against Beirut from Lebanon, Al-Hilal from Saudi, blah, 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 blah. This being said, okay, they win a prize at the end. They're a very nice league with TV streaming and everything. Starts this year. So we're adding 1 more game to a team who already has 1-2 games per week, who already trains with an aggressive coach, who already wants to now also teach him new stuff, and now I tell him come every day, do hand training. So here comes load management. A 2-day course is not enough to get me to impose all the drills on my team, but if I respect the concept there and start to adapt and acquire the idea that load management is key and going baby steps with my athletes, then I'm good. For example, you wanna incorporate few conditioning drills? Yes, in your 1 hour and a half basketball session or 2 hours, you want to have 10 minutes for speed at the beginning, excellent work. 10 minutes at the end for metabolic work, bravo. But going and adding sessions outside your scope, you're not a strength conditioning coach, you're a basketball coach. Going and adding work on top of your stresses you're giving him in the court, which is basketball stresses, you might risk injury. So be smart about how to apply this. I'm giving you tips. After level 2, level 3, you will be able to put a program. But again and again, ideally, I said it and I'll say it again, is to have with you an SNC coach. This is we look up to professional setups, right? There's no professional team and setup without this structure. Coach, assistant or 2 assistants, or 3, I don't know. A physical therapist, تضحك ليش؟ مستحيل. Physical therapist, strength and conditioning coach. That's the best scenario. We hope it's in everywhere. Yeah. Chain of action drills, foundation technique work. Foundation. في سؤال؟
No, that's good. Just say.
Yeah. Chain of action drills, foundation technique work, assessment patterns, pre-mediate, okay, cutting drills. So what we're saying here, to sum it up, when it comes to chain of direction drills, we work a lot on technique because we don't care about time and reaction now. We care about technique first. We explain the reaction, the lateral shuffle. We explain the forward, backward. It's technique we're gonna fix outside, then we start timing. You're tired today. You're tired today. Okay. If you wanna do coffee, feel free. Cutting drills, look at this. We're gonna see this when we go on a cone. Let's say this is a cone. I'm gonna go behind the cone. Now, I wanna sprint this way, right? So let me do it from here. I'm going. The foot closest to the cone is gonna explode forward as my first step. So, I'm here, change direction, fixed foot, boom. First step is the closest to the cone. So what I don't want to waste time. I want to make it a habit. So I'm moving here, I change direction, fixed it, boom. I never stop, I'm just going slower. I don't want to make it random for my athletes, I want to make it clear. Foot close to the cone, knee up, toe up, big step, always. First step is the biggest step, right? One drill I like to do the basketball court, I'll do today also to teach this better. Standing on the baseline, release yourself and sprint to free throw. To prevent yourself from falling on your nose and face, you need to do a big knee drive. And then you sprint to free throw. So another drill to teach stride length. Clear? Lots of drills, by the way, but these are few examples. Okay. How much time do we still have? We're good. 20 minutes. But no, we have lots of slides. Let's keep pushing. All right. agility, one nice drill for agility is the mirror drills. If I'm facing you, you're doing shuffles. You're the coach. You're the lead. I'm the follower. I'm mirroring her direction. So I'm here. She goes this way. I go this way. She goes this way. I go this way. You've seen it, of course. That's a basic drill. But it goes wrong when you give big distances. You see sloppy techniques. You see nonsense. Minimize the distance. Technique comes first. Let's do that drill. Go side to side. Do whatever you want. It doesn't work. Very minor distances. Similar talent, similar speeds. If she's very fast and very slow, it won't make sense. Right? Remember the testing thing we said you should be almost similar speeds to make it more fun, more competitive, to get the best out of her and the best out of me. So this is very important. Lots of mirror drills will be done, nice drills, but again, if you increase the distances, you'll see sloppy techniques. You've done it for your kids, right? Or your players. If you do it again, please focus on this focus that if the distances are big, you see nonsense techniques. Second mistake, if it's long time. 20 seconds of this drill, no way to do it right. It's gonna be wrong. Versus 7 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, very efficient, boom, break, switch. Less time, more efficient, technique-oriented, technique priority. Technique in the change. So, I'm teaching you before I'm talking to her, before I'm doing the drill with her, the coach was teaching us to shift our weight inside and change direction. Then I come and do the drill with her, I do something else. I will do something else if I do it 20 seconds, if I have big distances. And then we start laughing, and then it's not serious, and then. Okay. You can always add the visual cues and game rehearsal stuff, more sport specific, as soon as we get to the championships, as we said. My lovely thing, we will do this today. Sorry? RSA, repeat sprintability. So the thing is, look at this to be accurate. My athlete is sprinting 30 meters. Let's forget the 30 meters. Let's make it basketball specific. My athlete is sprinting from baseline to 3-point line, or to free throw, plus or minus. Today we're going to put at free throw line, extended cones. My athlete got 4.1 seconds. Today we're going to do it to make it easier, since we don't have lasers, etc. Lasers make it easier, make it easier for the coach also, and make it a more reliable test, because it's really not. It doesn't have any human, input, and it makes it over the machine, so it's going to be 100% correct. But again, if you don't have the money for it, you can use the stopwatch. What we're going to do today is I'm going to be doing it alone, timing alone, but you're going to just do it for the sake of explaining. You'll be sprinting 100% if you feel you're good. So I'm going to be taking the speed of the first guy and the last guy. So the fastest person and the slowest person. Having two clocks with me, trying to get as much as possible, do the numbers and tell you what I concluded at the end. To give you a real life example, what's happening. The fastest person with the slowest person to have an average of what's going on with the team. So let's say the average was 4.1 seconds per sprint. Jump to baseline, the rest of the few seconds sprint again. The score was 4.15, blah, 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 blah. At the seventh sprint, it was 4.8 seconds. So the decrement was, the fatigue index score was 17%. Taraja, decrement, or decrease in performance from sprint 1 to sprint 8. Here, as a quick idea, how did I get this number? I got this number by subtracting this 4.1 minus 4.8 minus 4.1, worst time minus best time, divide by best time. Very basic formula, not hard. Times 100. Now, okay, that's nice, coach, but you need to know rep by rep what happened. Yes, so to know rep by rep what happened, it's rep time minus best time times best time, divided by best time. So for example, repetition time is 4.2 for third rep, minus best time, which is 4.1, divided by best time times 100, I get 2.4%. 2.4% is the decrement from rep 1 to rep 3. So from 4.1 to 4.2, I regress, I dropped 2.4%. Clear?
Yeah.
Same thing for every rep. And then at the end, it's 17. Why? Because I just said that. Understood or anything?
Yes, yes.
It's very easy. It's
Yes.
nothing complicated. Okay. Now, what are we looking to find? So sprint 1, I decrease 1.2%. Sprint 3, 2.4. So it's linearly it's a linear increase. See, adding 1.2, adding 1.2, boom, it doubled.
Fatigue.
It didn't double here, but it's sort of increase also in a bigger percentages, and then wow, boom, it went off. Here the athlete lost it, or the team lost big time, right? You'll be like, guess what, he fatigue, coach. Oh, yeah. He's gonna fatigue. It doesn't make sense that he keeps the same number. He's gonna drop. But the big drops are red flags. So the big drops are when we drop in our anaerobic endurance in the fourth quarter, when we drop after the 2-3 transitions. We want to eliminate this and decrease it big time. It gives you a big edge as a team, as in any stop and go sports, but in basketball it's a big thing. Okay? You'll be coach, but yes, but in our sport it's not only sprinting, you change direction also. Yes, but now you need to dissect to be able to improve. So you work on this now, then you'll be having change of direction drills later, right? And tests of change of direction drills you've already done. But that kind of drill, the other kind of drills are done with bigger rest interval to improve the power output in it, the speed in it. Here, it's how much you can endure and stay running comfortably, sprinting comfortably. Okay? You are already exposed. Coach, why don't we do change of direction drills at the end? Since we are tired, we develop change of direction as we are tired. Why, coach? You understood my question? Or not really?
Yes.
I will repeat it. I'm saying, coach, why don't we do change of direction drills at the end of the session? It's because as my athlete is tired, I push him to change direction more, and then when he goes to the game, he becomes comfortable. Never. Why?
Oh.
When you are at, forget power for a second, I'm linking it to real game situation. In real game situation, fourth quarter, you shouldn't change direction to go hit a game winner, right? So you're still doing it. Why don't we train at the gym also, or because the highest risk of injury is when you change direction at high fatigue. You already do it every single day, morning and night with your basketball coaches. Come do it with me in the conditioning room, never. So I don't want to overwork what you are already overworking. Clear?
Yes.
For everyone? Very important point. If you're telling me, okay, I'm not doing anything with the basketball coach, he's giving me a 1 month off, maybe. Otherwise, no. I think clear across the board with everyone. Very good. You're gonna do this today also. Physical therapist, is he or she a must on the team or not? There's physical therapist here or not?
From hospital.
Come from hospital.
They should be qualified.
Yes,
Should be good.
Very high.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So all teams have physical therapists from us for that. Very good. So physical therapy is really crucial, and as I told you guys, I'm a physical therapist before being a coach, but I really understand how important it is for a basketball team, and how crucial this role is, as it's equally important to an SNC coach. I cannot say this guy replaces this guy. I cannot say this guy replaces that guy. And it's not acceptable not to have an SNC coach on teams. This is something hopefully coaches will try to change the administration, because this will elevate the game a lot. It will help you as a coach. it will help the management, it will help the national teams, it will help elevate the game. As simple as that. Okay? There's no top basketball country in the world that doesn't give SNC, strength and conditioning, top priority. No chance. Not basketball, any game. Any game. Alright. Is it possible to find a basketball team in the States without an SNC coach? Close to hard. Is it possible?
Even more important than the actual coach, if you want to say. Sometimes.
Look, the hierarchy is the basketball coach is first. If we are to look at the hierarchy, the basketball coach is here, physical therapist is here, SNC coach is here. This is the hierarchy. No, I'm following the book. That's the hierarchy. He's the CEO. He's the head of the thing. But you can't miss on the SNC coach because if you got the athlete injured, you're gonna miss on the whole thing. All right. Physical therapist guy is. Let me tell you about the scope of profession real quick. A recognized professional who demonstrates advanced competencies in the promotion of safe physical activity participation, provision of advice, I will explain, and adaptation of rehabilitation and training interventions for the purpose of preventing injury, to the restoring optimal function, and contributing to the enhancement of sports performance, there's a typo here, and athletes of all ages and abilities while ensuring a high standard of profession and ethical practice. So, to make it, this was Chinese, let's talk English now. To simplify it, the physical therapist is a must on the team. He covers the medical aspects of he covers the injury part of the game. He covers the rehab part of the game. He makes sure the communication is great with the SNC coach, with great reporting to the head coach. Ideal scenario. Does it happen in every team? No. Does it happen in most teams? Also no. But it should be the case. The physical therapist should understand that he is not the guy to interfere in training. And when injury is healed, it's not his job anymore. The strength and conditioning coach should understand that's another problem. He cannot heal, diagnose, or treat. We said this in the first slide, remember? But you will see it if SNC coaches start in Qatar tomorrow morning. You start seeing some less qualified SNC coaches, some more qualified SNC coaches. But usually the less qualified tend to cross their scope of profession and start showing that they know more. Okay, let me treat your injury. Let me give you shoot. Never. When you see this, no, it's a no-no. It's a wrong thing. As an SNC coach, refuse it. As a basketball coach, understand that it's wrong. Don't allow it in your team. It will create bad vibes because, like any other company, if you don't know your role, you will kill the company, right? And if the boss doesn't notice this and stop it, same. This guy is irreplaceable. A must to be found in every team, cannot be replaced by any other position. Since injuries are part of the game. And rehab needs such a specialized person. It's not my job as a coach, SNC coach, it's his job. Quick overview on injuries. Definition of Achilles tendinopathy since we approached the physical therapist job. Quick on this, we won't take time on this, but the idea is very common injury. It's an inflammation basically of the Achilles tendon. What's the Achilles tendon? It's the thick band tissue around the back of the lower leg that connects the calf muscle to the heel. It connects all the way to the calf, all the way to the heel. بطة على الكعب. هذا دور الأكيليس tendon. That's the role of the Achilles tendon. It gets inflamed. Why does it get inflamed? Results from the demand placed on the Achilles tendon is greater than its ability to function. Often the result of repetitive work or overtraining. Take your kid or your senior national team player, your star, whoever it is, never exposed to sand training. Next week, do him 5 times of sand training back to back, he will suffer from this thing. Straight. Very fast, you see it. Yesterday was good, what happened today? It's very annoying, but yeah, inflammation, boom. It's when you push someone to something not used to so soon and so aggressive. Clear? واضح للجميع? Clear? What happens? You feel some tenderness in the posterior heel, some pain, stiffness while walking, tightness in the calf, edema. Okay. Is it a tough injury? No. If it's acute, if it just started, it's not hard. You get rid of it fast if it's done, if you did good rehab. If it becomes chronic, it will kill you. You warm up way longer. You always feel uncomfortable. It affects your mental state to be. Who suffered from this Achilles tendonitis? 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
3, 4. Okay, 3 or 4 people out of 16. That's 1/4. Not a small number. Telling you that's very common. Okay. Any tendonitis is very common. Active sprains also are very common. Usually it happens on the inward. Boom. With my foot. Boom. That's the more common. That's where the ligaments tend to get destroyed. Definition injury to the ligaments connecting the bones to the leg of the foot. When I say ligament, what do I mean, by the way?
Arbit. Is a ligament. Arbita.
Ligament connects a bone to a bone.
Two bones.
Tendon connects a muscle to a
Muscle
bone.
to a bone.
FYI, good to know.
Mm.
Okay. Ligament bone to bone, tendon bone to muscle. Not the same. What happens usually of ankle twists inwards? I just show you right now. Inwards. As a result of sudden or unexpected movement, cause the ligaments to stretch or tear. Something. Symptoms: okay, discomfort when weight bearing on the affected limb, swelling, bruising. You know what's an ankle sprain. I don't need to repeat this stuff. But jumper's knee, another type of tendonitis. By the way, what is tendonitis? Tendon is the tendon. Itis is inflammation. Very common. If you don't know it, please know it. These are basics we need to know at level 1. We need to. So patella. This bone over here is the patella. Patellar tendon gets inflamed. Patellar tendonitis. It's called jumper's knee because it's very common with jumping sports. It gets inflamed very soon. Not very soon. It gets inflamed due to pushing, as I said earlier, when the athlete is not ready to get exposed. That early and that aggressive. Patellar tendon connects your patella to your tibia. I showed you where it is. So your kneecap to your shin bone. Tibia, patella. Mechanism because of the overuse of the knee joint. We said that overuse. Exposing him early. Like the beach example. Beach. Talked about. Pain, discomfort at the patella, if untreated, can lead to weakness and tendon tears. So anything left untreated becomes chronic, creates issues, could lead to more severe injuries. That's why we teach athletes to listen to their bodies. We teach coaches to accept an athlete sidelined and treated. Every basketball coach goes to the physiotherapist. Why is he late to recover? What's happening? Why didn't you treat him faster? If the physiotherapist is weak, that's different. But I'm saying if he's a good physical therapist, you should need to trust him more and know your role as a coach, and don't try to cross your role. Don't put pressure, it's fine. Maybe the physical therapist is being lazy for any reason, but you should understand and respect the recovery process. If a growing player needs 8 weeks, respect it. You don't want to get the athlete back in 6 weeks. Because even if he returns in 6 weeks, he will get re-injured in the next 16 weeks. You can't cheat this rehab process, it's science, right? ACL injuries, one of the most dramatic events that may occur is the rupture of the ACL. What's the ACL? It's the anterior cruciate ligament. It prevents the tibia, shin, it's called the shin, from going forward, prevents it. When it's ruptured, the tibia moves. Anterior translation, move forward and backward, then that's why stability is compromised. There's no more stability in the knee. Okay? That's my case, his case, lots of people have the ACL. So, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Since we started late, maybe 10 more minutes. And then we take, like yesterday, same, it's fine for everyone?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, 11, 10, plus or minus we can. Mechanism, sudden slowing down and changing direction. So I'm here slowing, right? I start to change, my leg gets stuck, I rotate, you hear this. When you hear this pop sound, game over. Okay, ACL. That's why the first thing when you get an ACL, God forbid, they come and ask you, did you hear a pop sound? It's common. Common symptom. Loud popping sound. Okay. Pivoting with your foot firmly planted, we said that. Landing awkwardly. Landing awkwardly. You wouldn't land awkward if you've been trained how to land. Right? If a pilot is well trained, he would land eyes closed every single time. If it's the first time he dives the plane, he will kill you. right? So the landing is only about training it the right way. No one is born knowing how to land. No one.
Non-contact on board.
No, yes, of course. Symptoms: pain, popping sensation, swelling. Some athletes get the rupture, feel the instability, but don't feel really big pain. They can try to continue the game, but then they feel it's hard to continue, then they stop. Some other athletes can start screaming for 10 minutes. It can be very aggressive. It differs between a person and others, depending on how aggressive it is, but it's really a different dynamics between one person and the other. If you've seen it in front of you, I don't know if someone saw and see it happen in front of them. Anyone? No one? No one. You saw it once? Okay. Good. If you didn't see it, that's good. Okay. Seen it like maybe 10 times. Oh, this is the ACL, by the way. See, it's connected to the tibia. See this tibia, this shin?
Yes.
If it's ruptured, it doesn't hold on the tibia anymore. What happens to the tibia?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's clear for you. Muscle injuries, mainly quadriceps, hamstrings, calf, and other strains, common in basketball. Quadriceps a bit less, but these are very common. When a muscle is overstretched and tears, please don't tear a muscle while stretching your athlete. This is the dumbest thing possible. Your athlete on the floor, he's doing his hamstring stretching on the floor, putting his leg back. You remember yesterday, putting his leg back, and you come, you're doing it bad, man, let's go. It happens always. And you tell you, like I've seen in with my bare eyes. There's a story, by the way, about an Olympian. She was very talented, going to the Olympics actually, in the States. In the States? Yes, in the States. So she was sitting on the floor. Old story. She was sitting on the floor, stretching her adductors. We did it yesterday. When you were sitting, you went forward with the hands. The coach came from behind her and said, "You're doing it you're doing bad. You're doing it like very lazy. In 2 weeks your Olympics are gonna start. What the hell are you doing?" He came from the back and pushed her more. She had a growing tear. Olympics were done. Olympics is every 4 years. so it's funny but very sad. And then it's a real story that happens. I've seen it with several basketball coaches. Even if he didn't tear her muscle or his muscle, it's not your job to go and push him. This is the job of the SSC coach. Except if you are doing both, like it's happening. So if you're doing both, understand that you should do it if you want to do it. Do it progressive, and I advise you not to do it. Add do it with the band and teach them to go progressive, never aggressive. واضح للجميع clear? Mechanism: due to fatigue and muscle overuse, the muscle tears. Muscle overuse could be due to imbalances, as I explained yesterday. Remember? Oops. Symptoms: pain, redness, limited motion, muscle spasms, swelling, weakness. Last but not least, 3x3 is an emerging game, part of FIBA's vision, and you guys are, in Qatar are always, I think, involved with these games. Very good.
Yeah.
3x3. Okay. Part of FIBA's vision and part of the development of basketball in countries, I personally can see it and everyone can see it. We are seeing this game more common, right? More attention, more media, more. If I'm mistaken, let me know. Correct? So, we cannot skip it. I will talk about it. We'll give it our last few minutes, and we're gonna go for the. So, forget the slide for a second. Is a 3x3 a high intensity game or lower intensity game than 5-on-5? If you tell low intensity, that means you don't know the game. It's way high intensity, by the way, way high. Sorry.
Short distance?
Yes.
Big effort.
It is.
Yes.
It is a very high intensity sports. To be training people for 3x3 cannot be the same training from 5-on-5. So, would I say that this senior national team of Lebanon, or of Saudi Arabia, or Qatar, the 5-on-5 players, same conditioning program, I take 3 of them, put them in 3-on-3 team, same conditioning program, that doesn't make sense. If it's happening, it's wrong. I don't know what's happening in Qatar, but I'm saying in general, because it happens other places the same way, which is very wrong. That's part of the education we're trying to impose. something. Distance traveled during a 3x3 game played half court is less than that played full court. Less distances. They were measured, I think when it was played in Doha a few years back, it was measured that the maximum distance traveled by 3x3 player is close to, the highest number was 1 kilometer. So it's a short distance. But, yet intensity is different. Intensities are way higher in 3 on 3. Okay? Short explosive bursts of action are played non-stop in 3x3 without serious long distances to be taken before a fast change of direction takes place. In other words, players have explosive qualities, be it change of direction, speed endurance, are crucial among other qualities for success in this game. Okay, you understand this. However, the game lasts from 15 to 20 minutes. Cool, all is good. Now, what I want to show you is the following. Not even this one. I want to show you this one. The average distance covered is 771 meters in the Doha 2015 tournament, whatever, okay. And the biggest distance covered is slightly less than 1K. We've talked about this. But here is the thing. The intensity of work performed is measured by pulse and by lactates. The average pulse of the patient in this testing is 152, and the average of the heart rate peak is 186. Lactate is about 6 millimoles. The numbers, I don't care. What do I want to conclude from this? What I want to conclude is that the intensity, when compared to time, 15-20 minutes, then for 5 and 5, the intensity there compared to the 40 minutes, you will realize that 3 on 3 is more than double the intensity and the load on the player. It's that big of a higher intensity. So, can I treat the player same in the strength room, in the conditioning room? Can I take from the senior national team 3 players and go play 3x3?
No.
Yes, you can, but you'll be exposed negatively on the high level. When you go play high level players, you'll be exposed, right? So, do you want to take any picture before I close the class? Okay, so before I end and you go to the break, all I want you to know out of this whole story, TX3, it's not the same as 515. It's way higher intensity to an extent that it's plus or minus double the intensity, if not more. When we take it, sorry, yeah, it's fine. When we take it from how much effort or high intensity work is put in this sport compared to the time of the sport, which is 15-20 minutes. Then we compare the intensity and effort put in 5 on 5 compared to the 40 minutes that are exerted. When we compare, we understand that, okay, even though there we sprint, we cover 1 kilometer only in 3 on 3, but when we compare this effort to the time, 3x3 is way more high intensity. That's why training and rest intervals will be different. Will be focused way more on metabolics and stuff that increase the high rate, short breaks, do it again. Nothing will change in the programming perspective and ordering we talked about, but we will be emphasizing more on agility, reaction, and on metabolics, which are going to help the athlete finish the 15-20 minute game, maintaining his best potential performance. Any question on this? You're good? Yes. 30 minutes. Thank you. Don't forget your classes. 30 minutes. It's 11:10. We come back 11:40.